So let's get into today's main story. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this moving forward. So we're going to be touching today on a growing trend inside the decentralized finance ecosystem and how Ethereum's DeFi ecosystem has become really the talk of the town, right? It's the top off-chain destination for Bitcoin. Now, we're going to be talking about this idea of Wrapped Bitcoin, or WBTC. It's been around for quite a while. It's the most popular tokenized representation of Bitcoin on the Ethereum blockchain. The way it works is one Wrapped Bitcoin, or one WBTC, is equivalent to one regular, like normal Bitcoin. And Bitcoin can be converted into these tokens through a smart contract on on Ethereum, and wrapped Bitcoins can be converted back into regular Bitcoin in a similar fashion. Now, the total amount and value of these tokenized Bitcoins on the Ethereum blockchain has sharply increased since May. So there's over $101 million worth of BTC now being held as a tokenized asset like wrapped Bitcoin. There's also REN BTC, HBTC, IMBTC, SBTC, and others that are continuing to develop and be utilized. Now, in order to tokenize their Bitcoin and put it to work in the Ethereum DeFi ecosystem, users would lock up their Bitcoin on the main Bitcoin blockchain using a specialized kind of custodian service or a smart contract. After that, a corresponding amount of tokenized BTC is created on the Ethereum blockchain, at which point you can then, you can utilize that new WBTC to engage across a variety of DeFi protocols, just as you would with ETH, or as you would with DAI, or as you would with any kind of deposit token like USDT or something like that. Now, WBTC, as we mentioned, it's one of the most popular tokenized forms of Bitcoin by far so far. And if we look at DeFi Pulse, we can see that it accounts for the majority of this niche DeFi tokenization. And there are currently around 8,200 Bitcoin converted into Ethereum tokens, worth roughly $75 million at the current time. So if we take a look at this chart, we can see that the amount of Bitcoin locked as WBTC has surged quite sharply, starting about a month and a half ago. Now, in mid-May, it was widely reported how the amount and value of wrapped Bitcoin tokens that were locked into Ethereum had seen a new all-time high, which reached 1,300 tokenized Bitcoin, worth about $11.4 million back then in total. But since then, right, this is mid-May. This is when we were reporting about all-time highs. But since then, the number of wrapped Bitcoin has grown more than sixfold to hit nearly 8,200 tokens today. REN BTC, that's the next leading tokenized Bitcoin asset on Ethereum. That launched back in May, and it currently holds about 1,000 tokens worth of Bitcoin on Ethereum right now. That's worth about $10 million. So kind of right where wrapped Bitcoin was at back in May. The other runner-ups include HBTC. This is a tokenized Bitcoin that was launched by the Huobi group, and lesser known IMBTC and SBTC. And those three together account for another 1,830 Bitcoin that's currently tokenized on the Ethereum network, worth about 17 million right now. So the remaining other tokenized Bitcoin projects account for another $350,000 worth of BTC, roughly, rounding up. And one of the main reasons for the surge in tokenized Bitcoin is likely due to the growth of DeFi applications and opportunities. As I said, yield farming, I'm starting to see podcast, DeFi yielding, yield farming. What is it? How do you do it? It always scares me a little bit. But however, remember, if you guys recall back to the ICO craze of 2017, 2018, you had a good, I want to say like 6 months when ICOs became mainstream before everything went to absolute catastrophe, right? Obviously, DeFi has come into the spotlight in recent weeks, particularly after lending platform Compound's Comp token became the largest DeFi token by market capitalization in just one day back earlier this month, overtaking the previous DeFi leader Maker in 24 hours. Now, since Bitcoin doesn't have the DeFi infrastructure that would allow Ethereum token holders to lend their assets onto the Bitcoin blockchain and receive passive yields, it appears that Bitcoin holders are turning to wrapped Bitcoin tokens in order to utilize their assets in the rapidly growing DeFi market, right? So this is the way for them to hold on to their Bitcoin, lock it up, and utilize the tokens on the Ethereum chain. Now, since DeFi yield farming has quickly become a very hot new trend, many individuals are going to be looking to leverage their Bitcoin holdings to go to work earning dividends on the Ethereum DeFi ecosystem. Still, as we've seen over this past year, DeFi protocols, and as we just reported on earlier, just a few moments ago, DeFi protocols are still very, very much experimental technology, and major hacks and exploits have taken place, meaning it's a very risky proposition to move Bitcoin from cold storage onto the DeFi ecosystem. But high risk, comes high reward. So what do you guys think? Is DeFi, particularly for the kind of Bitcoin maximalists out there, right? Is DeFi an exciting new use case for the Bitcoin that you have just sitting idle in your hodling wallet? My personal thoughts on this, right? I find DeFi pretty interesting and exciting, but again, general, waivers, liabilities, assessments go there. Small capital. This is not something that I would utilize with, my Bitcoin. I can, it's kind of like, Gresham's law. Like I consider Bitcoin rare and valuable. I consider Ethereum less so. So I would certainly rather earn the Ethereum via trading or via direct purchase and use that to diversify into the space rather than mess with what I consider my life savings, which is my Bitcoin. In the future, we're going to explore the DeFi space further, including how somebody can use Bitcoin and how to, send it and use it on the Ethereum network. So be sure to comment and let us know if there's something in particular or some particular strategy or edge that you guys would like us to look at in the comment section down below, or let us know here in the live chat. Boom.